Hey guys, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Rule the Waves 2. As usual, this is going to be a little bit of a role play before we start the actual gameplay. If you want to jump straight to the gameplay, jump to 7 minutes and 30 seconds. August 1910. Admiral Istorici Gamer, the head of the Russian fleet, the head of the Russian Navy as well, the Minister of the Navy to be exact, sat in his study in the Admiralty District in St. Petersburg. In front of him, he had plans for a new battlecruiser. A battlecruiser that would change the way that wars were fought, at least in his mind. A vessel of 28,000 tons, mounting the heaviest guns in the world, 15 inches. A ship that would be able to make 27 knots. A ship that would be able to run circles around its enemy. Yes, its armor was light, only 9 inches of belt armor. Its range was short. It would never be able to make a transoceanic journey in the time of war. There was no chance that if war would come in the Far East, that these battlecruisers would be able to make it there without at least another allied nation allowing the ship to use their friendly coaling ports. Something that's unlikely in a time of war unless you are officially allied to a nation given the laws of neutrality. And yet he was in the process of pushing this design forward. The Russian Navy's coffers were flush, 58 million. It had a net positive balance of 1.8 million. It had a number of ships that were ready to be replaced. The fleet was aging rapidly. But it did have 4 modern battleships, named after his predecessor. He preferred not to think of it. He had even debated renaming the ship class, the Tortukov class. Admiral Tortukov had been Istorici Gamer's exact predecessor, and yet he had wrought so much trouble. A rivalry had sprung up between them, and Admiral Tortukov was somewhat conveniently found dead. After an assassination that was never really fully figured out. The admiral was murdered in his home. It was originally thought that the murderers were German. The circumstances around the outbreak of the war seemed to suggest that this was some sort of preemptive attack. But then the evidence seemed to point more to the French. This nearly led to war between France and Russia, but of course the Russian secret police, the Okhrana, as it always does, discovered that this was not in fact the truth. The Okhrana was able to determine that the French were merely framed, and that the Germans were still a possibility, but they were somewhat skeptical. A deputy minister of the Okhrana even made some fearful accusations to the Tsar. Accusations which no one could quite understand. The Tsar would not share them, they were not on paper, and the individual was summarily executed shortly after making the accusations to the Tsar in person. Rumors abound that it was an inside job, that the Okhrana had discovered some highly placed Russian individual who had in fact ordered the execution of Admiral Tortukov. Many pointed to Admiral Istorici Gamer himself. He was obviously the individual who benefited most from Admiral Tortukov's death. But the matter may never be fully known. All that is known is that Admiral Istorici Gamer took over. He was able to help win the war against the Germans, although the peace terms were unfortunately not very favorable to the Russians, because while the war at sea went very well for the Russians, the war on the land was a bit of a bloody stalemate. The Russian army very rapidly in the first summer of the war reached the verge of defeat, and as a result the Russians agreed for peace. The Germans were blockaded by the British and to a certain extent by the Russians, and so the Germans were in no mood to continue the campaign because they themselves were starting to suffer massive food shortages. Fortunately, there had not been a huge effusion of blood on the front, and as a result, both sides were able to walk away somewhat bloodied, but not disastrously so. And so now, a couple years later, Admiral Istorici Gamer is putting the final touches on a battlecruiser which he hopes will lead to a doctrinal shift in the Russian Navy. The battlecruiser, the Istorici class, is named after the admiral himself, and the intention with this ship is it is very fast. The Admiral Tortukov class can only make 19 knots. The Istorici Gamer class at 27 knots can act both as a fleet scout, but also as a battle line participant with its 15-inch guns. The theory that Istorici Gamer pursues is what worked for him very well in a couple of battles against the Germans. The idea being that the fast ships go out, fix the enemy, engage them, then withdraw. The main battle line comes up, the battlecruisers circle in around behind them, and then keep a slight station to the rear while lobbing shells at the enemy. Thus, the heavier, longer-range 15-inch guns can do their damage, while the bulk of the enemy fire is directed at the front of the Russian line, where the more heavily armored Tortukov-class battleships reside. And that is the theory behind the Istorici Gamer class, which is currently on the drawing boards. What is perhaps more controversial, however, is the number of ships he intends to build. Istorici Gamer's opinion is that there can be no successful implementation of this strategy unless the fleet's firepower massively increases. To massively increase the fleet's firepower, he needs 4 Istorici Gamer class battlecruisers. 4 battlecruisers to go with the 4 battleships, a symmetrical fleet, or perhaps an egotistic one. Having 4 Turtukov class battleships and only 2 Istorici Gamer classes? Now, that would not do. And so he was planning to build 4 Istorici class battlecruisers. At least initially, that would be fine. The Navy had over $52 million in its budget, and it had a $1.8 million surplus. However, that would not even fund the construction of a single battleship. The instant the first of these battlecruisers goes down, the Russian Navy will instantly be in the red. To build 4 of them, in many's eyes, is madness. In fact, the Russian treasury protested directly to the Tsar, and the Tsar had asked for him to cut his fleet back by 2. However, Istorici Gamer prevailed on the Tsar, and as a result, plans for 4 of these monsters are going forward. The question isn't how anyone will fund it for the next year. The ships will be half completed before funds become an issue. But at that point in time, it will probably be too late to cancel them. You certainly would not want to invest 18 months of construction into something and then throw that all away, something that costs over $3 million per month to build. So Istorici Gamer was planning on leaving the Russian Navy with a little bit of a pickle. It would take creative financing, it would take creative acumen, it would require a little bit of luck. But, in his eyes, he certainly could pull it off. He had no care in the world that anything could go awry to disrupt his plans. What he didn't know was that the very member of the Okhrana that had supposedly been killed by the Tsar was in the process of being issued a pardon by the Tsar, somewhere off in the east. He had not in fact been killed. He had merely been tucked away, imprisoned, disgraced, but now was coming back with a full pardon from the Tsar, coming back with authorization to take over the Okhrana. Hey guys, it's the Historical Gamer here. Thanks for tuning in once again. Thanks for listening through to this role play if you just listened to the last couple of minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I always enjoy hearing your feedback down below, but it was a lot of fun to do. We'll see what XTRG does with that because this is my last episode as the head of the Russian Empire. This is obviously part of a succession series. This is episode number 12. It is my 4th in charge of the Russian Navy, but it is also my last in charge of the Russian Navy. So XTRG will be picking it up after this episode, and then we'll start a second season as we cycle through the original cast once more. I hope you guys enjoyed my time at the head of the Russian fleet, and I hope you guys enjoy this last episode. Let's go ahead and jump back in as we're building our first battlecruiser. Let's build it. $50 million. Woo! All right, let's go ahead and design this thing. So, we're going to design a ship. And I'm sorry, guys, but it's going to be a battlecruiser. We're going to auto-design, just to start, auto-design a battlecruiser. We can do triple turrets, by the way, now. I don't know why we would do an aft centerline when we can do an aft superimposed. We do a triple turret. So we can do an aft superimposed with a forward turret. We can do 15-inch guns, because that's what we've got. I love me some 15-inch guns. We can run away real well, because we're going to have 6 guns off the rear. We can build up to 28,000 tons. The belt armor, 9 inches, seems a little light. 24 5-inch guns? Granted, they're in casemates, but yikes. Have I done technology? I still get penalties for putting guns. I hate casemates. It seems like such a waste. I should probably do 6-inch guns, though, because we have quality 1. And maybe we should cut it back to 20, so it's 10 on each side. I guess that design ship thing just disappeared on us. So I guess we're just going to auto-design a battleship. Nope. We're going to auto-design a battlecruiser. Make it 26 knots. We're going to do triple turret forward, triple turret aft. Get rid of that. Turret X. Can we do a superimposed forward? Is this the only one we can do? We can do aft centerline. But they're both aft. I don't know. All right. 15-inch guns, secondaries of 6. Do 18. We're going to do 28,000 tons. We're going to do our maximum size. Belt of 12 inches? Dude, you're nuts. Deck of 2.5. Conning tower of 15. Turrets of 12. Secondaries of 4. I can't build a ship of this size. Who am I kidding? 4 3-inch guns? What's the point of having any 3-inch guns? I don't know if 6-inch guns fire fast enough to knock out enemy destroyers, but... I can't build this ship as much as I want to. All right, let's do 12 here. Yikes. Man, I can't build... I guess we could reduce the guns from 9 15-inchers to... I want them to hit hard. One of the guns on the aft? I guess I can do that. Saves quite a bit of weight. Three, 2, 3 is, I think, what we've got here. 3, 2, 3. Still 500 tons overweight. Can you make a 25-knot battlecruiser? I could make a slow battlecruiser with not great armor. Could cut the conning tower armor to 10.5. We could actually keep it at 11. So we could do conning tower 11, turret 12, belt armor 7, deck armor is 2.5. That's a little low for a 15-inch gunship, but, you know, XTRG is going to have to deal with it. 25 knots feels slow for a battlecruiser, but that was actually roughly the speed of the early battlecruisers. Maybe not battlecruisers built in 1910. Can we bump up the turret top slightly? Maybe bring the conning tower back down to... Yeah, the conning tower doesn't save me enough. And I don't want to drop the turret armor too much because I'd be worried about, like, flash fires. I could try and drop secondaries to 3.5. That would actually buy me quite a bit of weight. Yeah, I just don't see the purpose of having, like, a really weak secondary just to get better belt armor. Like, 9 inches isn't going to happen. We could try 8. Try fiddling around with some stuff with 8. So 8 inches of belt, 2.5 belt extended. I could go with speed. Could I get 26 knots with an unreliable engine? Three is probably more than I need on turret top. I can probably get away with 3. And on secondaries we can do 3. So 26 knots is probably worth that. 85 rounds of gun ammo is probably enough. Do we have additional stuff in here? Do we need I don't think we need torpedoes on this thing. Okay. That saves us a fair bit of weight. Can I do 3 on the belt? No. Get the belt extended back up to 3. So the gun ratings on a 15-inch gun, -1. 8 inches of belt, 2.5 of deck. With that, it can penetrate at every range. My gun can kill my ship at any range. The deck armor, it needs to be inside 14,000 yards for it not to matter. I don't think this is going to be a great ship, but you know what? We're going to build it anyway. I can't even remember the name of my admiral. Good God. Istorici? It's not very Russian sounding. I don't even know how I spell it. One sec. Istorici gamer. Istorici class. This is actually, now that I think about it, this is actually faster than the first British battleships. I mean, we could shorten the range and we could buy, but like, wouldn't we want, I guess that's my dilemma, is I could go with a shorter range ship and I could get 27 knots out of her. And I could probably get 9 inches of belt armor. But the short range just bothers me. Because what if I want to transfer it? What if I want to... I guess you're never going to use it as a raider, right? And you're just Russia, so you're probably only ever going to fight in the Baltic. So short range is probably enough, right? Let me go with 9 inches of belt armor. Does that actually... The 9 inches of belt armor means that we would actually have belt coverage at some range. Oh, well, no, not even. Holy cow. My guns can slice through my armor like butter. 16 secondaries instead. I could go a little bit slower, and I could go with more armor, but I think 27 knots is what I'm going to do. I want it to be fast. And I want it to, I want it to be fast. So you know what? That's what we're going to do. And do we want to add torpedo tubes just because torpedoes are awesome? Port and starboard torpedo. Speed shall be her armor. Ark. All right. I'm going to go with this design. Short range. Yes, I know. The ship design, it will start developing. It'll take 4 months, and it'll cost $6 million just to design the damn thing? Give me a break. All right. Hey, we researched quality 0 12-inch guns. I don't think I'm going to use them. Ever. I guess that would that theoretically give us a longer... What's that? No, these guys use 14 inchers. These guys use 12. We could upgrade the Estefai class. Here's the stupid thing. Is they want me to build a battleship, but they also, they're telling me I have to build this battleship to appease the public. But if I'm not building... Actually, I didn't even need to build anything. I didn't, because I already had 4 battleships under construction, and all it said is must have 1. I could have just pocketed the 50 million. God damn it. The Tortukov has commissioned into the Navy, ladies and gentlemen, the Tortukov. Welcome the late Admiral's battleship. And here come the other ones. They're close to mastering a 900-ton destroyer. Good to know. So now we have lots of money. We are flush with cash. Go to the build screen. Build 4. Ooh, that's a lot of money. Do it! So we're going to build 4 of these things. It's a lot of money. But my logic is this. The Japanese historically were obsessed with an 8x8 fleet. I am going to propose we have a 4x4 fleet. So we'll have the Imperator Magnus class is going to be in the reserve fleet. The Tortukov class will be our frontline battleship. Slower than the Imperator Magnus, but let us play a sad song for Benjamin Magnus's Imperator Magnus class. They've served the Russians well. They were clearly a very successful design, but we are shifting them all permanently into the reserve fleet. Meanwhile, the Tortukov will be the new flagship of the European fleet. The Estefai, I guess, will all switch to reserve. Well, actually, no, they're already in mothball. I think, who do I want to scrap? These guys? Or these guys? 10 inches of armor. I guess the Estefai class is better. So we're going to scrap these guys. Scrap these 4 battleships. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to send these guys to Asia. And we're going to switch, when they arrive, we'll switch some of them over to the reserve fleet. Okay. Meanwhile, I don't think I'm going to change any of my other ships at the moment. You're receiving much praise for building the requested numbers of battleships. Huzzah for me! A new hawkish government wants to raise arms expenditure. There's no new government, it's just the Tsar. Excellent, this will ensure the safety of our nation. We are almost at war with Austria. But I've almost got a decent balanced budget while building 4 battleships. Woo! Hey, the revolution is nowhere near coming. Unrest is at level 0. Meanwhile, I will spend some money to build bigger docks, because I'm assuming XTRG will want to build some kind of class, because we're actually coming up on XTRG's turn. So we did 1908, 1909, 1910, so I think December of 1911 will be the end of my reign as the leader of Russia. So this one we really blasted through. Okay. So the Imperator Magnuses are all in reserve fleet. I actually think I'm going to send 2 of these. Well, no. I was going to say I was going to send 2 of them to Asia, but if we're going to fight Austria or France, that doesn't make sense. Japan tensions are real low, so there's no reason to send a bunch of stuff to the Asian theater. Might even make sense to call back some of our ships out that way, but kind of wondering if we want to design a new destroyer too. I don't think... I mean, we have a 1903 destroyer class, which I assume was Ben. What can we do with a destroyer design here? So we can go up to 900 tons now. So that's probably worthwhile doing. Can we get it to 32 knots? We don't need any armor. I really don't need that many guns. We can have forward and aft. We can get rid of this one. Well, can we just delete the turret then? Can we go with 6-inch guns on a destroyer? Are we allowed to do that? Design's not legal. Ship is overgunned. A displacement of 2,600 is recommended. Okay, so we can't do that. We do 4-inch guns. We have 2 centerline torpedo mounts. Can we increase tubes yet? No, we can't have more than 1 tube. So I guess centerline, swivel, swivel. Can we do another centerline? Are we allowed to do this? Ship is overweight. That's fine. I'm not super worried about that right now. We could have no ammo. I don't even see the point of having these guns on these ships, to be honest. Like, what's the purpose of having a gun on a destroyer? Its really intent is for... And again, what's the point of having medium-range destroyers? At the end of the day, they're never going to travel... They're never going to be commerce raiders, so why bother? Too many centerline swivel mounts? Okay. So the best we can do, it looks like, is 3 torpedo tubes. Compare that with the previous ones have 3 torpedo tubes as well, and also 2 4-inch guns. Really, the primary advantage of these over the previous designs is just speed. They're 4 knots faster. I can't make him 33 knots though. I guess I could keep him cramped, although I don't know how that impacts trade protection. If we do cramped, we still can't get to 33 knots. Short range cramped. Yeah. If we go with engine priority speed, can we do it? Yes, we can. Screw reliability. 33 knot destroyers, bitches. Woo! Can we make them 5-inch guns? Nope, overgunned. Needs to be at least 1,100 tons for... That's bullshit. Give me more speed, Scotty. Actually, can we go back to normal then? Yes. Okay, we can have normal accommodations if we give the engine speed priority. So I'll do that. 33 knot coal-fired destroyer. Hell yeah. I don't think we have the oil technology yet. Yeah, we haven't developed oil firing. A 33 knot coal-firing destroyer. Those stokers are going to be packed in there in the bottom with 3 torpedoes. Reliability? This is a Russian destroyer, my friend. Reliability? Pah. I'm calling it the Charcoal Cheetah class because it's like... Actually, no. We'll just... Yeah, Charcoal Cheetah fits. It's a coal-firing, fast-ass destroyer. That name fits. Woo! Even if it's not very Russian. Charcoal Cheetah has short range. It may limit its usefulness. It's okay. Let's go ahead and research that ship. The German government is offering us to sell us rights to armor development, improved annealing. Hell yeah. I need to buy every technology I can get. Go to the build screen. I want to build 10 of these things. Alright, so we're building 10 Charcoal Cheetah class destroyers. They can replace some of our legacy destroyers. They're 900 tons. 33 knots, short ranged. They have level 5 ASW. That's a lot better than the previous ones. Meanwhile, we still have 20 subs that we built as well. We're negative 3.3 million. But we actually have... I don't know. We have some money. we still have 50 million in the bank. So we'll see. We're almost at war. One of our major shipyards is short on orders and is offering to build us another destroyer of the Charcoal Cheetah class on a 10% discount in 12 months. I don't want to go any more into the red. A new government wants to reduce naval spending in favor of social programs. I'm only the admiral. It's the politicians who chart. Go to the Navy League and get them to... I don't want to get... Try to get the proposal watered down. I don't want to start a war. I'm not ready for war yet. As much as I want more money, I'll take slightly less. It's only 600k. Intelligence reports that the French Navy has a majority of their heavy ships in active status. What should we do? Mobilize all of our ships? No. I don't have money. Send a note suggesting they reduce their stance. They're probably just conducting annual maneuvers. Don't fret about it. I would... Oh my god. Why is Austria-Hungary... Oh, okay. Austria-Hungary's tensions went right back down. A scandal involving some important dignitaries from Austria-Hungary has occurred at a party given on a world cruise by one of your ships. How do you handle the incident? Should we embarrass Austria-Hungary? Should we go to war with those goddamn Austrians? Here's the problem. How the hell do I fight Austria-Hungary? I don't have any naval bases in the Med. All my ships are short-ranged. Coward historical gamer. Hey, we research oil firing. Hey, tensions dropped. Yellow tensions with both of them. I'm a weakling. Yes, perhaps. A hawkish government has come to power in Austria-Hungary. This has the potential to increase... They really want me to go to war with Austria-Hungary. The policies of Austria-Hungary have always been unpredictable, and we need to strengthen our navy to be prepared for war. Prestige! Woo! Oh, we're almost at war! We're almost at war! I'm going to end up going to war, right? Just doing exactly what XTRG did to me. Leaving XTRG with a messy war. And a bunch of obsolete ships. At least I came with a freshly refreshed military. Our cruisers had just been refitted. Our battleships had just been refitted. This claims we have 8 dreadnoughts. That's such a crock of shit. Which would put us in front of everybody else. But everybody knows that's bull. Meanwhile, we're building 4 battlecruisers, which will actually put us in the lead with battlecruisers, too. Wow. The Russian Navy is up there, man. What does the almanac say? Austria-Hungary has 4 battleships, but we actually have the advantage there. Not because we have 8, because we definitely don't have 8, but we've got 4 quality versus their 4 quality, plus we've got 4 others. And they have no battlecruisers building. Like, we could crush Austria-Hungary into the dirt. Japan is sounding us out about an alliance. The Tsar thinks this can make it possible and save on defense. What should we do? This is an excellent idea. Together we can safeguard our interests. It would be better... Oh, man. We should call for an international arms disarmament conference. Leave XTRG with a treaty that he has to abide by. We've only got like 3 or 4 more months. But I actually like the idea of an alliance to secure the Asian front. I don't want my battlecruisers scrapped either. Nah, we're at war! 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 Second war. This one is actually my cause. War with Austria. We don't have very long left in our campaign before XTRG takes over. So we're at war with Austria. We're allied to the Japanese. None of my battleships are long range. I can send my old pre-dreadnought battleships into the Med. I don't know how we're going to fight this war from like a naval perspective. I'm going to send my obsolete ships to trade protection, as well as my corvettes. I'm going to set my submarines to unrestricted, because that's just how I wage war. We've got our 20 subs, so hopefully they'll help. I'm going to send these cruisers to raid. I'm also going to set my heavy cruisers mostly all to raid. So we're going to send out like 5-6 cruisers on raiding duty, 20 subs, and then we'll have a lot of sub protection. What's the almanac say again? The Austrians have 4 battleships. We have 8. They have 1 building. No battle cruisers. We're building 4. They have 14 pre-dreadnoughts. We have 5, so they do outnumber us there. Although they're smaller based on the tonnage here. They have 7 heavy cruisers to our 5. Although their 7 heavy cruisers must be pretty light, because our 5 heavy cruisers are 40,000 tons. Their 7 are 49. So 2 more ships and only 9,000 more tons. That must make them pretty light. They're building a gigantic 26,000 ton heavy cruiser right now. What the fuck? Look at that. Total tonnage either built or... That's a 26,000 ton difference. They're only building 1. They only have 2 light cruisers in service? Yikes. 21 destroyers. We have 13. We're building 10. They have 8 corvettes. They have 12 subs. We have 20. So this should be an interesting war. Been a war for 1 month. I don't really have any invasion targets. There's nothing within range that we can go for. We'll bring our battleships back into active fleet, I guess. The Tortukovs. These guys are trade protection. We'll have to bring these guys back to active. It's going to put us way in the red, isn't it? Yeah, we're 5 million in the red. Jeebus! I don't know. We'll see. 5+ centerline turrets. We can build super dreadnoughts now. Hell yeah! Enemy subs sunk 2. Nice. They have 10 operational. We lose 1 sub as well. We have 19 We sank 23 merchant ships with our subs. Wait. Oh, and our raiders sank 1. So we sank 24 enemy merchants for 120 victory points. The enemy got 0 victory points, and we sank 2 of his subs. Hopefully we just don't piss off the rest of the world with our unrestricted submarine warfare. Hydraulic rammers. Counterintelligence believes that Great Britain has stolen No. Well, we'll protest because I could use more money. Our heavy cruiser... or our raider Bayan has returned home due to mechanical problems. 25 more enemy merchants. We lost 1 more sub. The enemy destroyed 5 of our merchants with their convoy raiders. The operations of our ally add 220 victory points. A cruiser action in the Baltic. Let's fight! I need to build more subs. I don't have more money. It looks like we've got 2 heavy cruisers. The Olga... What's the sound, by the way? Is that blotting you guys out? Is that too loud? Should be okay. We've got the Olga, which has a crew quality of 0, 3 battle stars of the Bogatar class, 4 9-inch guns, 8 6-inch guns, 6 3-inchers. And the Bogatar, also of the same class, -2 crew quality for the Bogatar. They must have been mothballed. Unknown ship spotted, sir. Alright, 2 enemy ships spotted. Squadron, max speed. 2 enemy heavy cruisers. They must have sent heavy cruisers into the Baltic to raid our commerce, I would assume. Okay, so I'm going to hope that our crews are better than theirs, or our ships are better than theirs. They are turning away. Unknown ship spotted. More enemy ships? This is not Germany we're fighting, it's the Austrians. The Schwarzburg class apparently has 3 battle stars. I don't know who they've been fighting, but they've only got 6-inch guns on them. So they're heavily outgunned, although they are faster than us. We'll have to see if that's another enemy cruiser coming for us. Minerva class? And what's this look like? Pause. The Minerva is 2 9-inch guns. Alright. How fast is it? I can catch this one. assuming they don't damage. 2 on 1? Yeah, we split them in 2. If they want to run away with those other guys, I'll gladly sink this guy. I just want a victory to give me some victory points. Victory for victory points. The Minerva is slowing down. She is dead in the water. She is smoking. We've expended more than half of our ammo. It's okay. We're pounding them. I think we're staying at a reasonable range to avoid enemy torpedoes should they launch one. And we'll just circle the Minerva. The other ships ran away, so this should be a victory for us. Okay. We're going to use all our ammo trying to sink the Minerva. I think we might actually have torpedoes. I just prefer not to use them if I don't have to. Minerva, flash fire, ship blows up. Eventually we got her, boys. Ooh, that's a bloody way to die. Boom! Alright. I hope that laugh doesn't make you uncomfortable. Return to Le Bow. I'll consider that a victory. Why is the battle not over yet? Are they raiding our commerce? This is a little unsettling. Russian major victory. The Austrians lost a heavy cruiser. We only suffered minor damage. 0 points picked up for survivors. Well, they probably all died in the explosion, so... Russian major victory. 931 XP. The enemy gets 107. I don't know why they get 107 for just putting a few tink shell, fragments on the side of our ship. All right, we have 1 more month, so we'll go ahead and jump forward. The enemy has sounded us out about a negotiated peace, with us gaining some disputed border areas and some of their colonies. We can secure even better terms if we crush them completely. A few more months will do it. No common ground found in peace discussions. 19 more merchant ships sunk for the enemy. We didn't lose any submarines. 95 more victory points. Enemy raiders did sink 2 merchants of ours in Northern Europe. And there you have it, folks. The increasingly obsolete Russian Navy has enough money for but a little bit less than 9 more months. In those 9 months, however, we will in 5 months, we'll complete these destroyers, which will help our economic situation quite a lot. It'll free up about $2 million in cash, so that'll bring things closer to even. I'm kind of surprised I guess our battlecruisers were originally going to take 39 months, so they still have about 2.5 years left to complete. XTRG really doesn't have a lot of money to play with. He could scrap some of our subs or some of our older ships. I'm not sure what strategy he wants to follow, but I guess we'll find out. Our ships are, I don't know. I think this is a deciding point where the Russian player has to decide whether they want to maintain as large of a fleet as this or not. And if they don't, then they may need to make some slashing decisions, although probably not in the midst of a war. I do trust that the Charcoal Cheetah class destroyers will be solid when they come out. Those are fast destroyers for this era. The Istorici Gamer, it's a question. It's a question. They're designed for running. They've got 5 15-inchers on the back, only 3 15-inchers on the front. 16 6-inchers is a pretty solid secondary battery. 9 inches of armor for a battlecruiser isn't bad, I don't think. If we take a look at the Austrian Navy and we take a look at their ships, their Prince Eugen battleships are only supposed to have 12-inch guns. And so 12-inch guns against 9 inches of armor are going to be far less dangerous than otherwise. They also have the Crown Prince something, which has 12-inch guns as well. And then we're not sure about the Carnten, so who knows? Our other ships won't be online for another couple of years anyway. With that being said, guys, this is gonna conclude my turn. I'll probably chop this into 2 episodes and post them, one on Saturday and one on Monday probably. But that's the situation. We're in the midst of a war with Austria-Hungary. We're winning the war. Our financial situation is bleak. We're building a bunch of battle cruisers. We already have a bunch of battleships under the Tortukov class. And our heavy cruisers continue to outclass the enemy. That seems to be the one area that we've done very well in all along. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this series with my participation. I will certainly be linking over XTRG in his series so that you can follow his as he takes over. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.